Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this video I'm showing you the couple of quick matches I had before making it into the top 200 rankings. And in these matches I was playing a person called Fragger, who was another person who was ranked in the 200s at this point. So you could say we were vying basically for that top 200 position. The map we're playing on is called Bullseye. What you've got is ore deposits either side of your bases, and in the middle you've got gems. Now sometimes people do alternative tactics, like they go for the middle with the MCV at the start. This means that if the other opponent doesn't notice, then they can start mining those gems, which can allow them to build tanks really quickly. But it does waste a lot of time moving your MCV, so if you do that and your opponent sees you, then they're going to attack you pretty early on. Now, Fragger's doing something a bit unusual here. He's building to the left. Usually people build downwards. It makes it easier for your ore trucks to enter the ore refineries if they go from below, rather than side on. Side on's not too bad, but people usually prefer the other way. Now, what you can see I'm doing with my ore truck here is I'm doing a bit of micromanagement. I'm mining a space out in that ore so I can place my war factory there, because when I place my second ore refinery, I'm going to want to place it right in that ore. Just reduces the time that your trucks need to spend travelling between the ore refinery and the ore. And what I will try and do later, now I've been a little bit careless there, you can see yellow's got into my base. I haven't spread those infantry out like I was supposed to. So he's going to get a little bit of sight. And you can see, yellow's doing a bit of base crawling there with his power plants. He's trying to build downwards to that other ore deposits, ore field. Which will undoubtedly place another ore refinery there soon. Now I did a little mistake here, you can see where I pointed there. That little bit of ore there was blocking my second ore refinery. So now I've got a place, but I have wasted a little bit of time doing that, so it's not been perfect for me this match. And you can see that yellow have gone for they're going for earlier tanks than I am. I've been focusing more on economy. They've been focusing a little bit more on building some tanks early. And they've got 2 war factories at this point. Now, having 2 war factories when you've got only 2 ore trucks is maybe a little bit weird, because okay, they've got an increased building speed from the second war factory, but that's not going to do you much good if you haven't got the ore to build tanks. So it's a bit unusual, this strategy, I have to say. Also with the base crawling, he's got another ore refinery down, so he's now got 3 ore trucks. I've got 4 ore trucks, and you can see I'm crawling a bit upwards to get to that other ore patch as well. What he does have an advantage with at the moment though is he's got more heavy tanks. So if I was to fight him in like straight off battle, all my tanks against all his tanks, I'd probably lose at this point. You can see he's building quite a few. He's got quite a few tanks there, 6 heavy tanks. I'm allied, so I've got about 6 tanks as well, but they're only medium tanks, so they're going to do a lot less damage. So I'm just pulling back here because I know it's a fight I can't win. What I need to do is I need to rely on my strong economy in order to pull me through, because the longer it goes on, the ore we're collecting is going to make a big difference. And I think I should be well on my way to building my 5th, getting my next, yeah, you can see I've got my next, I've just saw on the mini-map there, I've got my next ore refinery down, so I've got an extra ore truck now. I've got 5 ore trucks, I think he's got 4 now, because I think he's building an extra one. And you can see this is an interesting thing he's doing here. He's moving 4 heavy tanks to the left, so he's split his forces. Now, this is what sometimes people try and do, is they'll try and split the forces and come from you at a different angle where you're not defended. The problem with that is that it leaves an opening for them as well, because all my tanks are together. And because he's split his forces in half, effectively, I'm gonna win this battle, because I've just got more tanks. Unless he had some sort of crazy way of micromanaging, but also he's at my base and it's a little undefended. But he's doing some damage on that side, but it's not too big of an issue for me. He's done a little mistake there. I think he thought he destroyed it and was pulling his tanks away, but He actually left it intact, which was a bit of a mistake. But the thing is, I've took out 2 of his ore trucks as well, so I'm doing very, very well economically at the moment. I've got a big economic advantage, and that's going to really allow me to build more tanks. You can see he's coming from the other side now. He's trying to cut my ore off. I think he's attacking my war factory there to try and limit my tank supplies. And yeah, there's not much. I'm just really focusing. What I'm trying to do is apply as much pressure as I can at that point. Just to keep his eyes more focused on his base. And I've got some tanks being produced there. I think I was just sending them to fight his tanks while I focus on the battle here. So he's had to sell that ore refinery. And you can see I'm outnumbering him in tanks 5 to 1. And I don't think that splitting his forces at that point has really not paid off. It's put him on the back foot. And now what? And you can see, because he lost those 2 ore trucks as well, it's put him financially, you can see money-wise, he hasn't got much at all. I've built an extra ore refinery at this point, so I've got an extra ore truck. I have lost an ore refinery, so my ore trucks are going to have to travel a little bit further. But pretty much at this point, it's all over. Both his war factories are gone. Yeah, he can still build infantry, but that's not going to do him too much good when I'm building tanks. And he's got a radar dome so you can see the map. But that's probably not good. Yeah, it's probably not really going to be helpful at all at this point. Now his construction yard's gone, so he can't build any more war factories or any more ore refineries. And I've been just taking out his power plant there. Now he's probably blind. He's probably low on power. And I'll be bringing my other tanks. I'm surprised he actually kept on going this long, because it was obviously over, quite obviously. And now he can't build any more units, and now this is where he gives up. So that was our first match, and in the next match I actually played the same person, Fragger again. Now this time we were on the map Keep Off the Grass, and anyone who watches my streams knows that I absolutely hate this map. This is really is my worst map. I think I once got beaten by someone who was ranked over 700 on this map. So what we're doing is we're building to the middle, because this map has lots of gems in the middle, and that's where you want your ore truck to be going. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now we've opened up a little bit differently. I've opened up with power plant and 2 barracks, whereas Fragger's only built 1 barracks. And the advantage of building 2 barracks is this map is infantry is really important because it's so small. So I'm going to have a build. I can increase my building speed, so I can build my infantry a lot quicker. And it's quite unusual what he's done, because usually what they try and do is they try and build much closer to the middle, so they can get the ore refinery in there. Sometimes you don't want your ore refinery too close to right in the middle, because sometimes it can be destroyed, so you need to make sure you really do defend that ore refinery well. Now at this point, I didn't know he was right back there. I thought that's why I was building pillboxes, just to defend that middle part. And this is where I go across and actually notice his base is built where he started. He hasn't expanded outwards, because he's actually built his ore refinery so he can collect the ore deposit next to him, which I think that's a bit of a mistake. Ore doesn't give you that much, is much inferior to gems when it comes to how much ore you're going to get from each pickup with your ore truck. So I'm in quite a good position here. I've got my infantry. I haven't got much infantry around. I've got some down near my construction yard. I was very cautious of that, because I was thinking, what's he doing? Is he coming around? Is he going to do a sneak attack? I've got my 2 pillboxes defending my ore refinery, so I'm in quite a good position there. And what I'm doing now is, as soon as I realised he was back at his base, I was building my war factory. Now he's got his war factory down quicker, of course, because he hasn't built as many other buildings. But I was aware that what sometimes people try and do is to try and build war factories really fast on this map and get tanks out faster and then attack you like that. So you can see he's got 2 heavy tanks at the moment. I'm just getting my first tank right now. And so he's basically 1.5 tanks ahead of me. And those are heavy tanks as well. I've got medium tanks, so I think he was just doing a bit of investigating here. Now he knows I've got tanks as well. And which probably works in my favour because you can see he's holding back a bit. Which is probably a mistake because I'm collecting gems. So I'm going to be getting more ore reserves in than he is. So it's going to allow me to build more tanks. So the longer it goes on for, basically, the better position I'm going to be in. Because I'm collecting more than he is. And again, he split his 2 tanks into 2... Well, he only had 2 tanks, but he split them into 2 different forces. He's got one at the top and one at the bottom, which possibly wasn't the best idea. And you can see now he's built his second ore refinery, so he's actually got another ore truck, which is sometimes a bit unusual on this map. A lot of people just stay at one. But yeah, I'm immediately going for that ore truck in the middle. Try and get rid of it. I don't want him collecting those gems. Then he'd have an advantage because he's got that other ore truck that's collecting ore. And you can see he's left it a bit too late, and now my tanks are outnumbering his. So yeah, he's either he's made probably 2 mistakes. He hasn't gone straight for the middle with his ore truck, which has meant he's not been collecting as much ore. And also, he didn't attack early enough when he got those 2 heavy tanks. If he'd attacked then, he might have been able to do a bit more damage, because I wasn't... And he didn't build many infantry early on either. And you can see now it's just I've overwhelmed his number of tanks, and yeah, it's pretty much over at this point. I've just got to destroy his buildings, and that'll be the game, the end of the game. He does seem to like to drag these things out, this player. Yeah, a lot of players would have given up by now, but he's dragging it out. And I didn't actually realise he'd got an ore refinery right back here when I was playing. This was the first time I'd seen it. But by this point it didn't really matter. Then you can see I'm just building a steady stream of tanks. And I've gone for his barracks now because that's the only other building you can build units with. And the game is over. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.